I'm still a fan even though it's salty. Hate to see you with some other, but I know you happy. Hate to see you happy if I'm not the one driving. I'm so much sure.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Miss Ladies, and we're gonna get into some things. You know, I've been seeing the YouTube streets, they've been hot. I heard the TikTok streets be hot. I mean, the only streets that aren't really hot right now is probably Instagram, but they're probably bound to get hot eventually as well. Our girl TALITHA Jane done did some things, so we gonna get into them things, but not too much. I'm gonna share my TALITHA Jane story, and yeah, y'all probably done seen like the TALITHA Jane things going on already, so I'm not just gonna reiterate what all is going on. I'll share my perspective though and give you like what I went through, my little TALITHA Jane experience. Also, this is like a get ready with me. I do have my pajamas on still, but I will be doing my makeup for y'all. I'll say this first. I made notes. I want to keep myself on track, okay? Get into like TALITHA. If you're not familiar with like what's going on right now, to me she's moderately new in the YouTube space. Like, I look at OGs as like Diera, Aaliyah's Face, Glamazon, Yoni Rose. Those are like my OG girls. Oh my god, my camera wants to die. You gotta be kidding me. Shame on me for not charging it. I should have charged it last night, but I didn't. Clearly this ain't gonna be no get ready with me. I'm just gonna get ready, come back ready. I can't believe my camera's about to die. Like, what? Either TALITHA or the man I'm about to talk about don't want me to talk. I don't know who it is at this point.
Much later.
Okay guys, so we are back. We are done up. I mean, I'm getting a little washed out. Like, I am I'm getting washed out right now by the lights. Please just bear with me. I'm doing the best I can. I don't like how like I'm not really looking like myself on camera. The hell is going on? Before I got cut off rudely because my camera was about to die, I was gonna just briefly share a synopsis of what's going on with our girl TALITHA Jane. TALITHA was in a situationship of, it was some years though, but yes, she was in a situationship with somebody who was her friend that turned into her confusing lover, and she read all the wrong signs and thought that he wanted to be with her, but in actuality she was just a placeholder for him until he got with the woman that he really wanted to be with, aka his ex or whatever. That is basically what's going on. She had broke her celibacy journey for this man. She had also just believed all the lies, played house relationship with him. I don't mean like house in the sense of moving in together and doing all that, but when you let a man come over, smack, take you out, do all this and do relationship things without a title or working towards a relationship and there's a clear understanding, that's another way of playing house, at least in my definition. There's plenty of videos out there that go into detail about TALITHA and the whole thing from start to finish, along with the TikTok videos to go with it. I highly recommend y'all checking out Yoni, like, cause that video was perfect, along with my best friend been sending me stuff off TikTok. So
even though I'm not on TikTok, like, I feel like I'm on TikTok and I'm experiencing the things that are going on TikTok.
Because we are going through this tea, okay? We are digesting it. It is very good tea, especially because I watch like almost every single video of TALITHA, so I know where she's hiccuping at. It's been very interesting seeing everything come out slowly but surely, even down to homie's identity. So we're gonna leave it at that, and then I'm gonna share with you guys now like my TALITHA Jane experience, like what happened to me, how I can like relate, empathize with her, but also why I really can hold her accountable, because I've been through this myself and I know where I effed up at, and a lot of the blame honestly was on me because I can't control him, but I can control what I dealt with and how long I dealt with it for. I have talked about him on my channel before. I made a soulmate video about him, probably like 1 other to 2 other videos about him max. I haven't talked about him for a very long time because he's, honest to God, dead to me. So I was in a long situationship that I was gladfully a part of. This situationship from April of 2016 to August of 2021. That's a long time to be dealing with somebody. And thank God I went on and lived my life and still had other boyfriends that actually committed to me, dated other guys that would, you know, take me out on dates and really got catered to. Because honestly, if I just put all my eggs in this one basket like it sounds like our girl did, I probably would be a lot more hurt.
Motherfucking right, I'm bitter. You motherfucking right, I'm triggered.
Than what I was, but I still was doing me and still living my life because I'm just a girl. The pandemic did a lot of things for people. People gained weight. The pandemic helped me get out of this situation, because I feel like if it wasn't for the pandemic, not that I would still be in it, I definitely don't see myself at 27 still dealing with this man, but you know, I probably would have done at least another year. But thank God for the pandemic. So 2020, I didn't really recall me dealing with him too much, but then I had to go to my receipts, aka my Instagram archives, and also go into text messages because I still have all my threads. And yes, I was very much still dealing with him heavy in 2020. I actually went to LA because he is from LA, and that's part of my beef with LA. I'm already from San Francisco, like the Bay, so it's just like we're already gonna beef with LA, but you know, my beef's a little personal. I had went down to LA trip. That was like technically my first solo trip. Like when I was writing my notes, I was like, oh my god, this is like the first time like I kind of sort of went solo pretty much. It's kind of like fake solo, because I feel like solo is like you even going somewhere by yourself and not even meeting up with somebody. Like you're going somewhere where nobody knows you. The trip wasn't centered and planned around him. Like I had things I did planned outside of him, but I did see him and he was a huge part of me being down there. As much as I don't want to admit it, because I could have gone anywhere else. We met in New Orleans. New Orleans is like our second home, like for me and him. There would be times in between like our whole situationship that he would be in New Orleans like after like 2017, because he had moved from the city. By the grace of God, I wouldn't see him. There was just so many signs throughout the situationship that let me know like this really ain't gonna be my man, even though I want to be with it. But it was just, the signs were just all there. I had driven down to LA, drove back, and I had seen him probably like 2 out of like the 4 days that I was there. I left like the day before his birthday or on his birthday, which that was like a whole other thing that I'm not even gonna get into. With us seeing each other, we caught up. Love was always in the air. Chemistry, vibes good. Like honestly, a love like no other. And I really love that I got a chance to experience that. For a long time before I healed, I missed that feeling and I yearned for that feeling. But now that I've like made it through the healing journey, I'm like, it's toxic. I don't want something like that with someone like that. You know, I like Talitha, celibacy where I see him, I lose my mind. I don't know how to think for myself and my body. It's just was the inevitable. Every time I would see him, it's just we can't keep our hands off each other. Also, this was like my moment where I was like, I am not letting nobody else touch me. I very much so was dealing with somebody else that was very much so applying pressure, but little did I know he wasn't really with it either. I mean, it came out later, but I, for the most part, didn't want anybody else to touch me. I very much so knew that like if I had let anybody else in the same space with me in that sort of way, like I felt like that was me losing him, and I wasn't ready to let go of him yet. I wasn't mature enough to let go of him yet and like really enter in my healing journey and move on with my life. I did not want to do that. A part of me didn't have faith that I could get any more better than him. Like I didn't think that I could have sexual chemistry with anybody else. I didn't think that I could look and communicate with anybody and like not have to say a word. And though that's like kind of was our thing, and like I haven't really experienced that yet with anybody else, I have faith that it will be a better experience. And I don't even compare new experiences or any experience that happened after him with him, because that's toxic. Now like I could actually say like I'm not even attracted to him. I don't want anything to do with him. Like it's very heavily like indifferent and disgust in a way is how I feel about him. And I just am so happy that I have gotten to that point. It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of restless nights staying up just really thinking about what he put me through, what I did, a lot of writing, poetry, just feeding back into myself, getting back to like this new version of myself, not like missing who I was, because I'll never be the same because so much has happened. So I don't expect to be like the same old girl before I met him. I don't want to be her. Just being a better version of my current day self, if that makes sense. Fast forward to 2021, where all hell breaks loose. So he was launching a business, had launched a business like a year or two before that. He had a shop in downtown LA, and that's where he had picked me up and everything. We went down there, and I could tell like the energy was weird. So this is still before like I know about anybody else. To my knowledge, it's just me, him, and that business, and that was not the case. The other thing too, like for as long as I knew him, he always had his own space, but he did let me know like last year when I had seen him and everything that, you know, he was living back at home, getting on his feet, trying to get this business off the ground, and he didn't have his own space, which he expressed like how awkward it is. But I found it very funny that 2021 he didn't talk about not having his own space, but I didn't press the issue. We just went to the shop, cool, and broke my celibacy again, because like I told y'all, it's bad. It's bad. Also, like, I felt very uncomfortable. I had a very uneasy feeling and energy that came over me like once I stepped foot in the car. I don't know what it was. It wasn't the smell of any perfume, but I could just sense like a woman's presence. Somebody else been touching you, been with you, and it's not me. It's so crazy because reflecting back on that, I didn't know what that was at the moment, but now just talking about it, that's what that was. Crazy. And the signs were all there. Like, I have to go back to the signs, and I know Talitha knows that the signs were there. Like, I hope she really takes a long time to get over this, because it's going to take a minute, especially because if you weren't dealing with anybody else in between and this is who you put your all into, it's going to take you a long time. I ignored so much, especially with communication, because the first 2 years it might have been me, but the rest of it, it was totally him. And just forcing a conversation, just wanting to interact with the person's interacting with you, but it's giving very much lackluster, especially if you really think back and reflect to like the beginning and like how a man really was treating you and then how he treats you now. And if it's polar opposites, then you need to leave. Like, some things can't be fixed. I think a lot of people are in the business of trying to fix things, like, oh, we could get past this. Like, no, some things are not meant to get past. Some things are not meant to be fixed. Like, and it's okay. Like, move on with your life. Let him move on. And sometimes you gotta let a man really be with their type. I had a feeling then, and I had that same feeling now, that I was just dreading losing him. I did not want to lose him. I'm scared to also admit it. I very much kept it player with like not really saying how I felt, which would drive him crazy, because he knew and wanted me to say it. He's one of those people like, I just want you to say it, but it's like, no, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not telling on myself. If you think you know everything and you got your degree and everything, like, then whatever. If a man like says like it's not a good time for us, like one day in the future we could be together, I could see us being together, leave. Okay, you're not the one. It's somebody else he's waiting for, or he's gonna keep you around as a placeholder, because I was a placeholder till shorty decided she want to come back to him. That's who he was waiting on. I mean, history goes way back, and when I knew everything and found everything out, I was like, wow, I wish I knew this so much sooner if he gave me this information. But honestly, I'm like, even if he did, I don't think I was mature enough to really take that information and just leave. I think it would have got worse. Luckily, I got that information when I did, and it took me a minute. It took me a minute to swallow it. It took me from like June to August to really be like, yeah, this is clearly not going to go anywhere. He's with her. He wants to be with her. Because he came out and told me like he had a girlfriend, and I was just like, what? How did someone pass me up when you said that when you're ready to be with somebody, you were going to be with me? And I really believed that, and it was all a lie. It was just to drag me, to keep me around, this fake sense of security. It was just all a facade. It was a lie. He lied to me. Some people might be in denial, but he lied, sweetie. It's time to face it. I was in LA twice in summer of 2021. The second time was the last time I saw him, last time we were intimate, last time anything happened to him. We talked for hours about just everything, and I had hope, but I knew in the back of my head, like, no, this man is not about to, we not about to be together. When you think about the last time you saw somebody, it felt like the last time, didn't it? Like, to me, that's what that interaction felt like. Like, everything we talked about too was just very much so the end of a story. We were wrapping up this chapter. I didn't want to let it go, but honestly, I was so emotionally drained and tired about this situation. I had no more love to give, to be honest. I was hurting and killing myself in the process. I'm not gonna go fighting with no chick over you. That's just never what it was giving. I was forced to let him go. Am I gonna do some tears? I'm not even sentimental or emotional about this. That's sad. I was like, let me bring some drama. Let me like try to work myself up. No, it's not working. I really settled for breadcrumbs with that situation. To be freaking honest, he should have got left in 2017. April, May is when he should have got left. And I would have saved myself so much heartbreak. He was just taking over my whole mind, and I let him though. I gave him so much power to really dictate our situation, and that's power that I won't ever give to anybody else ever again. When I tell you I have learned my lesson, mark my words, like, people get cut off. Like, I don't play these days at all, and I never will ever again, because my heart, my time, my soul, like, I know how I am as a lover, and I know how I am as a person to be with, a partner. I just have so much to give, and I'm not about to waste it on somebody who's temporary or doesn't even really see any value in me and investing in me like how I want to invest in them. After our last conversation that we had, I just knew it was the last conversation. The last conversation wasn't in the hotel room. Like, we had talked on the phone. I had cried about it, and that was the first time that I had cried. So much we have done and been through so much, and that was the first time that I had cried about like our relationship, it ending. I remember going downstairs talking to my mom about it. I was like, is it really done this time? It's over. And it was. And I've said that before. I think she knew that I was done for real. And she probably had a sense of relief too. I think everyone did. I think people wanted him to work, but at the same time they knew like this gonna be a mess. Like,
the gag is he actually ended up getting married to that woman. They got married this past December of 2023. And the real tea is they will choose who they want to be with, and there's nothing you could do to stop them or interfere with that. So if a man wants to be with you, he will be with you. He will marry you, period.
the bad things really outweigh the good. By the grace of God, he gave me the strength to cut him off. Really submitted myself to the process and let him go. The Lord will show you things, and the devil will too. So when Talitha often mentions, like in the videos, like God was telling me, God showed me, yes, some of that could have been God showing you, but not for the reasons that you thought. So many times I thought God was showing me that, but honestly it was the devil. There's no comparison at all. He could trick you to try to deceive God as well. I think she really needs to dig deep into that and really just make sure that it's God that's really telling you that, or are those communications coming from the devil? Because he could give you what you want too. And I think when you're talking about God, you got to address the devil, because the devil is very much so present, whether we want to admit it or not. To get into like Talitha and her moving to Houston, I thought I wanted to move to LA. I thought that's where I wanted to be. I felt good in LA. A lot of my feelings and love with me being in LA had a lot to do with him. And when I take him out of it, I honestly wasn't too happy or had any other purpose that would encourage me to stay in LA besides him. And if he's not there, then, you know, and that's why I did not move to LA. It was for the wrong reasons. We had talked about marriage and children and all those things, and we've been down roads that I haven't been down with anybody else. Those conversations kind of can set you up to really believe that there's hope and potential in something that is dead and there's nothing there. Seeing those signs early and understanding them and really taking them for what they are will just save a woman in the end. Back to like wanting to move to, ironically, the place that your situationship is in. Your mind has a way of playing tricks on you. I think that goes back to like the devil, and it could really influence you to make a decision that has nothing good to do with your well-being. You really have to remember, like, when you write the list of when you want to move somewhere and that person happens to be there, make sure you're at the top of that list and not him, because I can guarantee you that if you were to look at his list, even though he would never show you because it's figurative, you're not at the top of that list. Really remember like you and what you want, because it's so easy to think about somebody else. Like, we're mothering by nature, or we give all we have, we're very abundant in those factors. So really remembering that before you just give somebody your all and move. Be real with yourself. Like, don't lie to yourself. That's not fair, and you're not going to get anywhere with lying to yourself. To this day, which is a big part of the reason why I'm in therapy, I still don't believe that a man is telling me the truth. There's something that they're tied to that's just gonna ruin everything. So I have like blunt force trauma with that situation. Like I said earlier, I don't compare him to anything else because he's like no one I've ever met or anyone else I've ever dealt with. But I can say that I have been able to have sexual chemistry with somebody else way better. It was a thing. I experienced it, and when I experienced that, I was selling myself short for so many years, not thinking like I could experience that with somebody else. And I think God let me experience that to just show me like, see baby, there's somebody else. And even if it's not that particular person, but like, you can experience this feeling at a higher capacity than what you were feeling. Like, plans I have for you, like, says the Lord. That is real. I just hope Talitha and anybody else that's gone through like anything that I've gone through, she's gone through, other women, could just see like the silver lining in things and really take it as a blessing that you are cut free. That other woman is gonna have to deal with him, and he'll probably be the perfect gentleman and do everything he's supposed to do for her. You were just not the woman that he was gonna do that for. And it sounds really harsh, but it's the truth. And it's okay, because there's men that I wouldn't have done the same thing for as people that I really cared about or loved. Just take it how it is, okay? And everything will be all right. I want to thank you guys so much for listening to this video, and I also just wanted to mention that I do have an unpopular opinion series coming up. The first video that will be airing will be unpopular opinions about relationships. I'm so excited, and I loved filming this for y'all, and I hope you guys stay around. And until next time, kiss kiss.